Good morning, everyone. So, this morning's reflection meditation is the woman caught in adultery. So, we have this account in John's Gospel, chapter 8. And in it, as you can recount, I'm not going to read the whole story. In it, there are elders and religious people that bring to Jesus a woman that was caught in adultery. And they have her stand before them and they ask him what he would do, since the normal punishment for adultery was to be stoned. And if you read in the text, you'll see that they actually did this to test him. So they knew the answer to the law. They knew what they would do, but they wanted to trap him. They wanted to test him. And so they were using this woman to test him. And in the account, Jesus kneels down in the sand and invites the one who is without sin to cast the first stone. And one by one, starting with the elders, which is good, right? They were willing to model what was what was true. They all went away. And when they went away, this woman stood there by herself. And it's a moment of incredible vulnerability, because here the two of them are. It's almost as though Jesus just wanted to get her alone, right? Just to get to this moment. It's like all of the other people were insignificant to the moment and they just needed to get out of the way. And he stands up and he looks at her and he asks her, he knows what happens, but he asks her, where are they? And is there no one here to stone you? And she says, no one. And he responds, then neither do I condemn you. This is, again, one of these passages that we could take in many directions. But the direction that struck me was this one. In our relationship with ourselves, we constantly pass judgment. Constantly. We're more or less on the spectrum, right? We may have been spending all our lives stopping passing judgment. But especially in our culture, it's admirable to pass judgment on yourself, to analyze yourself, to pick yourself apart, to put yourself down, to self-efface. It's admirable. And I'd like for you to consider that all of these individuals that were going to stone this woman, envision that they are the judgments you pass on yourself. And if you do this, what then happens when you stop passing judgment and you are face to face with the divine? You discover that you have never been condemned. You have discovered that in that very vulnerable, tender moment when it's just you and God, that God does not condemn you. And it takes getting the judgments out of the way. Lent is about a time, oftentimes of purification, of up-leveling ourselves and our spirituality, of devoting extra attention to our self-realization. And one of our greater challenges can be the dismantling of the ways we self-limit, self-judge, under the guise of being responsible or accountable. And when we get that out of the way, we're really vulnerable. We're not vulnerable when we put a magnifying glass on ourselves and discover every blemish that's there. That's not being vulnerable. Being vulnerable is like this moment where this woman who is in a moment of weakness, she's done something or does something that is self-deprecating and not good for the greater whole. And in that moment, when everything else goes away and she is alone to stand, convicted or not, in the presence of God, there is no condemnation that is there. So this morning's meditation is a mantra. And this mantra is very simple. It's 2 words, 4 syllables. Aham Brahmasi, Aham Brahmasi, Aham Brahmasi. So Aham is the I, and the I represents in Sanskrit that which is ever constant, that which is unchanging, that which is ever present, like the I am, right? That which is ever present. And Brahmasi, Brahma, is ever full or whole. And Asmi is am. I am whole. I am whole. So this mantra is all about giving ourselves the opportunity to come into that vulnerable moment when it is just us in the presence of consciousness, to discover therein the deep truth that we are not condemned. And from that place, love can cast out all fear. Brené Brown says, what we don't need in the midst of struggle is shame for being human. And yet how much of humanity is working through shame for being human, which limits the direct encounter that we have in this passage. Because to hold shame is to keep the elders around you with stones, the elders representing the wisdom, right? With the stones. But when all of that is gone, we discover in the raw moment that we are whole and we are not condemned. And that love casts out the fear so that the unintegrated parts of ourselves, the parts that still are coming into the knowing that we're whole, can do so from the only place that it's possible, from love, not from fear. So I have my mala. We're not going to do 108 this morning, but we'll do quite a few. So the mantra is Aham Brahmasi, Aham Brahmasi, Aham Brahmasi. And I'm just going to begin by toning it. You'll jump right in since it's almost all on one pitch, one tone. I invite you to close your eyes. And let yourself come close. Let go as much as you can of your self-judgments and your self-limitations and your analyzations. And throw your heart into this mantra, inviting in a breath. Aham Brahmasmi, 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 Aham Brahmasmi. And we'll continue with one more round, inviting in a breath. Aham Brahmasmi, 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 Aham Brahmasmi. Before opening your eyes, say silently to yourself or in a whisper, I am whole. I am whole. With that, I invite you to draw your palms together in front of your heart and open your eyes. Have a great day, everyone.